3 robberies, and so forth. By the time Crockett had passed over the map once, he had trouble finding a spot for any additional pins. He turned to face the men. You gentlemen better move your asses and bring in some of these hoods, or the commissioner is going to wonder what the fuck you're doing every night. The men were impressed by the crime wave in the district, and then it came. And let me add one little thing, you bastards want to get paid, don't you? Well, the city's broke. Last week I passed out a new summons book to every cop, and nobody's asked for a replacement. Well, you're going to get one tonight. And let me tell you that if you're not using it by tomorrow morning, you'd better have a good excuse. I'm going to be out patrolling tonight, and if I find one bastard passing a red light who don't have a cop on his tail, there's going to be hell to pay. Shit, muttered Sonny. Fuck off, muttered Tom. It was 3 a.m. Tom and Sonny were parked in an unmarked patrol car with their lights off. Sonny started to doze when Tom poked him softly with his elbow. Look at that. Those bastards have circled the block 3 times already. Looks like a hit. Sonny looked up in time to see the late model green Chevy roll around 14th Street and out onto First Avenue. He was cruising at about 15 miles per hour, close to the curb. Both men noticed at once that the car slowed passing Feinberg's jewelry store. You're right, said Sonny. It's going to be a fast hit and run for the stuff in the window. Why the hell did Feinberg leave the jewelry in his window tonight? He usually cleans it out. Well, he's got that big sale on tomorrow. He wants to get out an early start. And usually he asks for us to watch things when he leaves the jewelry out. Schmuck, said Sonny. It's just they're inviting trouble. Albert Sean Goldstein had just turned 50 and was starting a new life. His wife of 30 years had walked out on him 3 months ago, and the kids were on their own. He couldn't believe he could enjoy life so much. He was getting laid regularly for the first time and hadn't had more than 4 hours sleep in each of the last 12 nights. But he loved every minute of it. And now he had something he always wanted to own, a brand new Corvette. He hummed the motor at each traffic light, listening to the sound that made him feel good, as though he were ready for a part in a major movie. Just breaking it in, he thought, driving 20 miles an hour. Plenty of time to gun it later. He promised himself that he was never going to scratch the paint on this red beauty. It was his, a symbol of new freedom. He was determined never to clean the front seats, but watch the red, blonde, and brunette hairs accumulate on the velour. He rounded 10th Street onto First Avenue and headed for his new East Side pad. It was 3:15 a.m. Quit poking me with your fucking elbow, for Christ's sake. I see him. The green Chevy was moving up First Avenue at a slow pace. This is it, said Tom, fingering the car keys in the ignition. We'll pull out and cut him off. You take the car, I'll take the prick that smashes the window. What a shocker. The Chevy halted in front of Feinberg's. Only a small street light illuminated the area, and shadows covered the entire entrance of the store and most of the street. The silence was broken by a shattering of glass and the shrieking of Feinberg's alarm. At the same moment, Tom gunned his ignition and started to move out. Did you see that, yelled Sonny? What? That Corvette just went through a yellow light. But you were allowed to go through a yellow light. Not in a Corvette. Go get him. But what about Feinberg's? We got the bastards all lined up. Fuck them. We'll get him some other time. We got a summons book to get rid of. The unmarked patrol car sped out into the center of First Avenue, turned uptown and headed for the Corvette. Lights were going on in some storefront apartments in response to the windows smashing and alarm. Goldstein couldn't believe what was happening. 2 policemen in a car were waving frantically waving him frantically over to the curb. Lights were going on in buildings. Somewhere an alarm was ringing. He never saw the overturned garbage pail as he swerved toward the curb, hit the pail, jumped onto the sidewalk, and smashed his fender against the fire plug. "Oh my God," said Goldstein. "If those guys are phony, this will be the highest class mugging I've ever had in this neighborhood in years." A few minutes later, Sonny was speaking to a dazed and traumatized Goldstein. "Albert Sean Goldstein, where do you think you're going? Traffic lights are meant for the night as well as the day." He fingered the license and registration in his hand. "Officer, I was only going 20 miles an hour. The light was yellow. It wasn't red." "Well, sir," Sonny said, "I think you passed a red light and will have to be cited." He started to pull out his violation book. "Look, can't we do something about this?" Goldstein began to slide his hand into his back pocket, reaching for his wallet. "I don't have any violations, and I don't have time to take care of all of this. What do you say?" Sonny looked down at the pale man squirming in front of him. He saw a $20 bill being shoved toward him. "Are you offering this to me to forget the ticket?" asked Sonny. "Look, officer, take it if you want it. Let's say it's a donation to the PAL." Goldstein felt Tom's hand firmly grasp his left shoulder. "Okay, sir, that's attempted bribery. You'll have to come down to the station." "Oh, come on." Goldstein felt the handcuffs quickly applied, then himself forcefully being pulled from the Corvette and seated in the patrol car. It all seemed like a dream as he heard the policeman murmuring something about his rights to contact a lawyer, and if anything he said would be held against him, and that the judge would not be in until Monday morning, obviously indicating at least 3 nights in jail. "For Christ's sake," he thought, "I only passed a yellow light." Tom pulled Sonny aside. "Look, Sonny, take him down and book him, and then come back and pick me up on 19th and 2nd. Where are you going?" "Tonight's the 5th, and Harrigan's bar is 2 weeks behind on the vig. I'm going to pick up some cash for the boys. I'll be in the bar when you get back." End of story. Tonight, we are going to consider another aspect of the corruption. It's called corruption in high places. This chapter illustrates 2 of the fundamental principles in the use of corruption to facilitate efficient function of the society. It is paramount to realize that no segment of government is immune to its reach, and this is as it should be. Even the most insular segments, which appear to function over and above the daily economic strife, may be found to be useful under certain circumstances. Remember that the circulation of money stimulates all forms of good. Whenever profits may be realized from a new enterprise, there will be an associated employment, money to spend, and taxes for the government from which the good and welfare of the society flows. Unfortunately, it is occasionally true that the immediate effects of corruption may inconvenience a small segment of the population. But it is the overall good of which we are speaking, and the flow of profits will in the long run benefit most of the people. A good example of this second principle is the necessity for unemployment in a democratic society. Although full employment is variously described as 3% unemployment in the views of the most optimistic liberals, never as everybody working, we know that society functions best when the unemployment rate hovers around 7%. Although the surface, this appears to inconvenience 7 out of every 100 able persons, actually it provides the greatest benefits to all. This unemployment rate provides a premium core of jobless, competing for positions which guarantee sufficiently low income levels to assure profitable margins for business. This latter effect of course, is desirable for the continuing successful functioning of a free enterprise system. The continued development of new goods and services will result in a better standard of living for the majority of people, and in addition provides a stimulus which is necessary to enhance the dreams and aspirations of everybody with a television set. The taxes generated by such stimulated society provides enough money in unemployment insurance and welfare benefits to those fortunate enough to lack a job so they can continue to function. They probably make more than they would if fully employed at a low-level job commensurate with their experience. That's if they had to pay taxes. This is borne out by the large number of employables who would rather have unemployment insurance and relax than work anyway. In summary, therefore, the two principles are: no level of government is immune